Now, this isn't a recent interview. It was probably from about a year ago, but I still want to know what you think about what he said. Listen to this for a second.
A quick Google search says that your net worth is $350 million. Is that accurate?
I don't even know, man. No, this is the downsize phase of my life. The first half of my life was gather, and the second half of my life is going to be give. But what happens is you just realize none of it can make you happy. Once you've bought everything you want, and there's literally nothing on earth else that you want to buy. I just wish that was a gift that everybody could have, because there's nothing that material can do to satisfy you. It's like drinking salt water. That phase of my life, when you realize that no relationship, no money, no kids, there's literally nothing that can make you happy. That happy is an internal, full frontal contact. You reconcile that you got to make happy in here. You got to make happy in here with none of that stuff.
Damn.
You got to take happy to the people you love. You can't try to get it from them. And it's like you got to take happy to work. You're not going to get happy from work.
The reason I shared that clip with you is that it somehow reminded me of this one from Father Reehil. Try listening to this for a moment.
It's through the church that we encounter Christ, not as a distant figure of history, but as a living presence in our own lives. And even the Second Vatican Council said this, quote, this is in Sacrosanctum Concilium, paragraph 7, Christ is present in his word since it is he himself who speaks when the Holy Scriptures are read in the church. It is Jesus himself who speaks when the Holy Scriptures are read in the church. So he's present in the Eucharist, he's present in the priest, he's present in the people, he's present in the word, he's present in the poor, he's present in the sacraments. He's present in many ways, but the most full presence we have of him, of course, is the Eucharist. But these words carry up a little particular challenge as well. So do we recognize the gifts we've been given? Well, I would say for the majority of people, no. There's no recognition of these gifts. Because if you're not going to do the one thing he asked us to do, which was do this in memory of me, celebrate the Mass, and come on Sunday 1 hour a week to give me praise and glory and honor and thanksgiving, if you're not going to do that, you're really not recognizing the gifts, because if you did recognize the gifts, you'd go, because you'd understand the value of those gifts and how important they are to our salvation. Which draws me back to that basic point about letting the whole world know this is important. This is all that matters in the end. If you don't have this, you're a loser, in the most kind way. You lose. If you don't have Jesus, you lose. So that's why we have to tell everybody about him, how great he is, how wonderful he is, and what he wants to do for all of mankind. He came that we would have life and have it to the full. Look around. Do most people look like they have life to the full? It's different than the world would define it. The world would say having life to the full means I have all the things that make me happy, like the things that are pleasurable. My vacation home and my this and my that and whatever it is, Well, that's on a very surface level happiness. There's the deep soul level of happiness that resides only in knowing Jesus Christ and the love he wants to share with you. And that's completely different. And that's what people need. That's what the world needs. It's a sad world when you think about it. And the advent of all these billionaires now, we never used to, when I was growing up, there was no such thing as a billionaire. I mean, there were millionaires, but now it's billionaires. And one of these billionaires is probably going to hit trillionaire in our lifetime. That's an insane concept. That one man would have a net worth value of almost of $1 trillion. Some of them are pretty close, halfway there at least. So it's a strange time, because the message the world is receiving is that that's important. This is more important than anything else. Is making a lot of money. That should bring you happiness, and it doesn't. If you've ever watched the show about the people who win the lottery, what happens to their lives, with rare exception, they all crash and burn. And they all wind up alone, destitute, broke, and with no friends or family. It's a horrible, horrible scenario. And it happens almost 90% of the time. It's always the same thing. They don't know how to handle the money, so they just go nuts and wind up coveting it and shielding it from their friends and family and moving away from people and ghosting people. And what a horrible way to live. It doesn't have to be that way. Jesus is available for everybody, and he's free in terms of monetary cost. He's available for everybody. You just have to be humble and open and embrace the Lord Jesus Christ. You will never regret it.
And speaking of money, you know I often share with you and point out the issues with OnlyFans and the porn industry as a whole. We also know that one of the devil's primary goals is to drive people to suicide. Let me quote what Monsignor Rossetti wrote about this. Every exorcist knows that the devil cannot directly kill people. He threatens to do so, but it's an empty bluff. He can torment and torture and tempt, but he cannot kill. While he cannot kill us outright, those in his grasp slowly have the life sucked out of them. They become dark, lifeless, hopeless, and lethargic. But the devil cannot pull the trigger, so he tries to get the person to do that themselves. And what this former porn actor said in this interview in the Sean Ryan Show really confirms what Monsignor Rossetti wrote in his article. Listen to this for a moment.
You don't know who you are, but you pretend to be whoever you think the person across from you wants you to be so that you can, appease them, or so that they would like you because you don't really know who you are, or you believe who you are doesn't have any value. But I would say there's this generally across the board, there was this belief that, doing something outside of the industry, the longer that you stayed in the industry was impossible. So the only the best possible outcome is that you have a good long-standing career in the industry, and then one of the studios that you worked for a lot, you get hired on as a director, and then you work as a director. That was the next hopeful progression, because not being in the porn industry wasn't an option, because being in the porn industry meant you couldn't do anything else. At least that's what they wanted you to believe. I mean, for example, Cagney Lynn Carter, she was a great friend of mine. She got in a little bit after me, stayed in much longer than me, much later than me. And I think it was last year, she had left the industry, opened a dance studio. She was like a ballet dancer, like in her teens, something she still was passionate about, and she opened up a place. But everyone around her was like, you can do whatever you want. You can say that your name is whatever, but I know who you are. You'll never escape from that. You'll always be that person. And she tried really hard, and it's so sad, bro, because she took her life. And the day that she took her life, she posted a photo of herself on the beach saying, "I'm free." But what's true is she was in prison. Like, I wanted to leave the industry. I wanted to do something else. But you begin to believe that you can't. And it's not something you do, it's who you are. And if the only thing in which you can do is to sell yourself for sex, then your no loses its volition. It loses its validity. Your no loses its validity, because if the only thing that you can say yes to is selling yourself for sex, then you can't say no to anything. So you say yes to everything. And it's just so sad, man. I mean, just to think I was sharing with someone, there's, 40 of my friends, suicide, overdose. Those porns are still there. It's like, man, if I could encourage someone that's watching that now, it's like, man, there's all these things that are true, while you don't know if there was force, fraud, or coercion, regarding the scene that you're watching. You don't know how old that person is. Like, you don't know if they gave consent. And then in this situation, what I'm saying is, you don't know if the thing in which they did caused them so much pain and hurt that it led to their death, and you're partaking in the thing in which caused their demise, and you're extracting pleasure from it. And that person is dead because of what they did, and they're still making money off of it.
That will be all for the video this time. And as always, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us. Hopefully all of you have learned a lot from this video. And remember, if there's any feedback or suggestion, please let me know in the comments below.